Damn, I'll tell you. People like us, we got to become millionaires somehow. I mean, maybe you guys already are. I'm not. I think about the art that could be created with that kind of
Yeah,
money,
yeah.
and going out there and competing against all these pencil necks with their dumb projects. I need a little bit of capital to cut through the noise a little bit better. That's all I think about. And okay, we're going into the fog here, and we don't know which way is up. And all right, whatever. And fine, a hot dog at Yankee Stadium is $45. If I'm a millionaire, then whatever.
Today we have special guest Frank from Quite Frankly right here on ESW.
Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, folks. It's me, the Gorilla, coming to you live on this edition of Rogue News ESW. We have with us a very awesome guest, one of my favorites of all time, good buddy, fellow New Yorker, the one and only Quite Frankly. Frank from Quite Frankly's here. We have also Velas riding shotgun with us. So it's a double header. It's a double treat. So I'm excited to have both these guys on. So Frank, man, glad you're here, man. Welcome back.
First of all, it's been so long. Thank you for having me. It took me. I remember back when I first met you guys. It took me a little while to even come to understand the difference between V and Velez.
Yeah.
I thought V was just like, hey, my name's Velez, but just call me V. It's like, and then it's Gorilla. So I thought V and Velez was one thing, and then Gorilla was the other. And here we are. It's all these years later. I think the last time we spoke, I got into your StreamYard from my phone. I think I was sitting in the backyard or something like that.
Yes, you were sitting around some trees and stuff. It was spring. That was the first time we had you on. Yeah,
it was like post-COVID.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So my daughter was probably an infant, and I probably just didn't want to be inside talking. So that was that. But damn, it's great to. I mean, well, Velez has called in quite a few times to Quite Frankly to.
I'm a stalker.
Yeah,
I'm a stalker.
Sometimes he'll just slip in on open lines. Other times he's been guests. It's been wonderful, but it's great to get the band back together over here.
Absolutely, man. I gotta get into those lines myself.
Yeah,
definitely, man. Frank, lots of crazy stuff happening, man. It's wild. I'm watching things happening minute by minute, seeing where the markets are, and I don't know, man. How are you taking this all in?
Well, if there's if I saw some of the comments that the president made about NATO, because they're not playing ball with the trajectory, all the plans in Iran out there. And I said, well, I know that a lot of people are split on whether or not we should be kicking another Middle Eastern beehive right now. But if it does get us finally out of NATO, I'll take that. That is, if we.
That's a highlight.
Yeah, even though whoever the hell comes in after Trump, whether they are a Republican or a Democrat, are going to put us right back in. It's just, I don't know. Look, I'm open for all types of unexpected wins. As far as the markets go, I always defer to people like you to tell me, where you think it's all heading. I just know that I've been stacking a nice amount of silver, enough that in a pinch, I actually have the physical strength to pick it all up in one hand and run out of the door and not be actually like physically anchored to New York. But stuff like that has been interesting to me. I've been really thinking about the silver and gold aspect. I like to think what you guys say. I would never sell in any way, shape, or form. And my question to you guys is there a limit to how much suppression of silver? Is there a limit to how much silver could be suppressed? Every time it rises, crash it back down, but is there a limit, and when do we get there?
Well, the big limit is and all this is event driven, right? So we're past the timeline now. It's all event driven from here on out. The way this is being broken, especially with countries that are part of what many are colloquially calling it the multipolar world, which is a complete opposite of the unipolar world order that we've been under for so many decades. The way they're doing it is, they're buying the physical. They're no longer settling for, hey, here's a contract. And as somebody who works in the industry on an international level, dealing with vaulting, dealing with logistics and procurement of the metal and all this other stuff, typically, if we have sometimes clients, if they have a X amount of, let's say 30, 40 million in gold in Switzerland and Geneva in a vault, another client in Singapore wants to buy it. We're just simply changing the name on the ledger. It's just that simple. And that's what usually goes on. So when it comes to the markets like the CME, the COMEX, NYMEX, the London Bullion Market Association, the LBMA, all they're doing is just shuffling contracts. Nobody was asking for physical delivery. Last 2 years, there's been such a massive uptick of physical delivery. We're like, yeah, you know what? That 100 metric tons that we just bought, yeah, well, could you deliver it? And they're like, what? No one asked us to deliver anything before. And usually that's the telltale sign that these metals that are supposedly sitting in these vaults, that are supposedly under the name of these investment banks or financial houses, they're supposed to be there. And I can tell you from experience, and I'm not going to name the vault, it's here in the United States, I'll leave it at that. I've seen serial numbers change on bars, where I have a client who, had an a ridiculous amount of metal held in one of these vaults in the United States, and I was like, "Look, you got to get it out of there, man. You got to get it under, in an allocated, segregated account. You got to move it." And when we went to go move it, we've seen that some of the serial numbers have changed. So there's a lot of mistrust happening. I'll tell you right now, there's a major U.S. bank that one financial bank, one in Canada, a Canadian bank, asked us, the group that I'm connected with, that when they took delivery of gold that was held in a vault and they wanted physical, they took physical delivery. Again, doesn't happen, right? The first thing they asked us, we want you guys to assay it. So we're talking about a significant amount of gold, like 9 figures, right? About 9 figures, right? A significant amount of metal. And the first thing they asked us is, we want you to assay it. And the shock to some employees are like, they want us to assay this gold that was held by a certain large bank in the United States. And this is one of the, I'll just say they're in the top 3 biggest banks in the United States, north of $6 trillion in assets under total control. Okay. Because they didn't trust that that the gold wasn't tampered with.
I've heard about that with a lot of different, I forget what the hell they're called, the 100-ounce silver bricks as well.
Yeah.
There's so much fake stuff out there.
Correct.
There's essentially movie props.
Yeah, the term that's used is salting, and I don't want to delve into V's universe, but because he knows it better than I do. But we've had a number of programs on our side of the house explaining to the audience about what does that mean, what's involved. Yeah. Case in point, rather embarrassingly for several central banks, I don't want to point this country out unfairly, but one of the ones that became public was China. Because a number of major countries out there have been accumulating as much bullion as they can to bolster their own currencies. And the Chinese discovered large amounts of their gold was essentially salted, meaning it's not 18 karat or whatever the rating was. It was much lower. It had other metals and things mixed into it. So to V's point, this is the two sides of the same coin, which is folks no longer just want to trust that whatever precious commodity is out there, be it platinum, be it gold, be it silver, be it whatever. They want physical proof, and the physical proof is don't send me a photo. Physical proof is send me the item. And then as soon as they get it, they test it to see, is this stuff as pure as it's supposed to be.
And they would test that through running an electrical current through it.
Electrical current is a common way to do it. I think with silver, there's a method by putting it in a balanced tank of water. There's other things you can do.
It's like it's like the end of City Slickers when they finally find Curly's gold and he goes and he rubs the top layer of the gold off and it's just lead underneath it. And that's just something where you can't imagine that it's just a phenomenon that's happening now. I mean, it's essentially just counterfeiting and a more ancient form of counterfeiting. And for as long as I've been interested in what's going on with gold and silver, why people even pick up bullion and what its relationship to currency actually is, you can see how we already had a huge disparity between issued paper and the rate at which we mine this stuff out of the ground, and how that in and of itself will keep prices down. but then you don't ever really appreciate the fact that the stuff that is out of the ground or is at least declared silver or gold, how much of it is not actually silver or gold at all.
Correct.
And that's why and here's the thing, the network that I work and operate in is LBMA Good Delivery, which is basically the origins of it is a 280-year-old good old boy network originally started by the Rothschilds and Moses something. I forgot his last name. It escapes me at the moment. But these are the guys who started the LBMA eventually, right? And that standard it's a network basically. That network is between Swiss refineries, okay, bullion banks, sovereign wealth funds, and brokerage and logistics companies, right? Vaulting companies. So when we get an order for a client, we're going directly to their Swiss refiner. These bars, whether they're gold or silver, they're 9999. They're 4 nines, the highest purity you can get. And each one is serial numbered. So when they're serial numbered, we could punch the numbers into a computer. Some of them, like Metalor, great refinery, LBMA refinery that we deal with, they have a QR code. We scan the QR code, we punch the serial number in. Then the pedigree of the bar shows up. Where was mined, where was refined. And it's a tight-knit network of logistics companies that come and grab the gold. It's counted upon pickup. It's counted upon delivery. It's very strict and stringent. So this is a very, very paranoid network. So because this is the network that central banks use. It's very paranoid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's into this thing where now they're like, yeah, we just don't want to have the paper ownership. We want to take physical. And that's never happened before. Ever. That's how you know the paradigm's breaking. And every time they beat down the price of metals, they're buying more and more physical. Every time that beat down of the price happens, it's being reflected less and less in the physical market. How do I know? Well, simple. Place an order for $50, $60, $70, $100,000 in silver or gold and see how many weeks you got to wait. You're waiting. And then if the spot price is, let's say, 80 or 90 bucks, you're paying 120 for a coin for silver. The premiums are going up. The premium and the spot price is literally like bifurcating into two, right?
Where do you think? Where do you, in a year from now? I have some people who are hoping, and some people who are outright saying that silver is going to $1,200 to $1,500 an ounce.
Yeah,
do you think that's possible for within the next year?
It's very possible. I called exactly where the markets will be over a year and a half ago. You know, to the T, to the season, to the month, basically. And I'll tell you right now, we are going into the springtime right now. Gold's going to start testing $7,000, $6,000 and $7,000 is going to be starting testing. We're going to get into that range. Silver, we're going to get into 500. I could see silver $500 an ounce probably by spring. And again, it's event driven. There could be things that pop off in the Middle East that it could run silver to $2,000 to $3,000 an ounce. And gold, huh?
Because they need bombs.
Well, not just the bomb thing. It's the industrial application is huge, but also the monetary aspect of it as well. I mean, so it's a double pronged attack, you know. So the demand, the industrial demand, as well as the investment demand, is tremendous for silver. So the upside for silver is massive. $1,500 an ounce silver it's not out of the ballpark, man. It's very, very real, and it could very much happen very quickly, depending on how things happen, how things play out with the situation with Iran.
I got to be honest. If we start flirting with anything over $1,000 an ounce silver, I may sell off just a little bit.
Yeah, why not?
Just
take the family out to dinner, you know.
Take the family out to dinner. Maybe buy a small plot of land in the Adirondacks, although it's still in the state of New York, so that might not be good. But I mean, I don't know. I think about that. I'm just like, okay, well, you could just skim a little bit off the top and have $100,000 cash liquidity in your pocket. Why the hell not? You know, but everybody, like, I thought it was so ridiculous how everybody started getting crypto level FOMO, where when everything was starting to creep toward $100 an ounce, like, and all of a sudden everybody's like, I want silver. I want silver for what? So that when it goes to 150, you're gonna sell it. I mean, anybody who's been holding on, that's why I didn't care if it crashed down to $20 again. I'm not getting rid of all the stuff I've been sitting on. You know, It's just like the crypto. Crypto over the last few years has really taken on almost like a Mohegan Sun casino kind of environment, and I don't think very many people I don't think very many people at all really understand, like you were saying before, the different types of utilities and the application of like the blockchain technology itself. It's always most the average person who has any little bit of something in a digital wallet out there just pretty much thinks I'm going to buy this much and hopefully it becomes more US dollars one day. Like,
Yeah, that's all it is.
this is all a hedge against the dollar. So I don't understand why anybody would want to cut and run and dump all their gold and silver just because they might be able to get some of the sinking currency we call the US dollar. It's ridiculous.
Right. Exactly correct. And that's the whole thing with cryptocurrency, that I think it's been a miss in that industry itself, because it's supposed to be a currency. You're supposed to have some utility and use case for it. And ever since Wall Street started, like, you know, getting involved with crypto, and I've warned the many guys in back in 2016, the crypto industry, look, guys, here's the deal. You guys are getting way too friendly with Wall Street, way too friendly. It's not a good thing to get into bed with the monster. Don't do it. And what happened? They get in bed, and all of a sudden, the innovation is dead. Cryptocurrency is used for nothing right now but for pure speculation on every level. I mean, it's 2026, right? It's been how many years? It's been over, a decade plus since Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper, and I still can't go into a Starbucks and pay for a cup of coffee.
I thought
it's not convertible.
Exactly. At this point, and I don't know, I've only, whatever I've ever held has been because, hey, I saw that's where the wind was blowing. So I made sure I had a couple of wallet keys open in case people wanted to donate to the show through crypto or something. And, I never had, I did sell off a little bit of it to get World Series tickets in 2024. But those were all like ass coin and stuff like that. I had all these.
I made a killing on ass coin.
Yeah, seriously. I didn't sell off a Bitcoin or anything like that. But these little tiny tokens. All of a sudden, I realized, oh my god, I can bring my mother to the World Series. Now, now in hindsight, it was great. I brought my mother to the World Series, but I saw the Dodgers win, so that wasn't nice. But when it comes to this, I thought that for sure by 2026, if you walk into a Dunkin' Donuts somewhere, you'd be able to swipe a chip in front of a reader and it would be able to take your Bitcoin. I haven't seen that anywhere. Bitcoin
anywhere.
I mean, I remember about maybe 8 or 9 years ago, there was reports that some shopping malls were starting to see sporadically Bitcoin ATMs that were popping up.
Yeah, and that died very quickly.
I've never seen one in person. So
Bitcoin is such a terrible technology in the terms of that it's so difficult to scale. Now, somebody who's like I work on the institutional side of this stuff. So when you're doing mega deals and trades, you're seeing tens, hundreds of millions of dollars, settling into wallets left and right. Dude, when you're settling trades in crypto and you got a significant, 7, 8, 9, 10 figure deals or transactions going through, and people are waiting around hours for the stupid thing to confirm on the blockchain because of whatever traffic is on there. Can you imagine you're buying a cup of coffee and you're just standing there, you're waiting for the block to confirm the transaction? It's a nightmare. So the crypto industry has failed miserably in that regard, and I think the only thing that's going to come out of the crypto industry is stable coins, and from that's going to be strangled. That's going to be choked in the cradle by central bank issued digital currencies, which at some point they're going to try and shove down our throats at some point.
And not to go too far down that road, Frank, we were covering on a prior program the fact that, and again, not to oversimplify, but in the case of the United States alone, but it's a worldwide reality. When you look at the amount of debt that major countries are holding and what percentage of their GDP is being used to cover that debt, it's off the scale. Mm-hmm. We've got $1 trillion in credit card debt in the United States that no one expects to be repaid. That's factual. That's been covered by multiple experts. I think you may have had some folks on your show that kind of delved into that. We've got some car loans that aren't going to get repaid. College loans, don't even get me started on that. That's another $1 trillion. And then the interest alone, now I know you covered this because I heard it on one of your shows. The managing the interest on our debt alone for the United States is $1 trillion, and because it's reached $1 trillion, it's now exponentially growing. major countries around the world are going to have to shift their debt the same way that South America did in the 1980s, the same way a number of countries did in Europe. And of course, as we often hear, Italy and Greece and others. I mean, in the old days, Greece would, as soon as the global economy would tank, Greece would flood the market with drachma, their national currency. Nobody wanted it. It was sold for pennies. And then as soon as the coast was clear, Greece would start reducing the amount of their currency in circulation, allow its value to rise again. And they just did this over and over and over again. And then when they joined the European Union, and then when we had the 2008 economic impact, Italy and Greece both were like, well, I guess we're going to have to monetize our oh my God, we can't do that. We're on the euro now. It's like the European Union is knocking on their door saying, hey, yeah, if you can't pay your bills, we may have to kick you out of here.
You know what though? This is bringing up for me. It was actually something else. I'm pretty sure it was on the last time I was on with you guys, and we were talking. We got around to finances again and the currency and all that. And I'm pretty sure I said that it's another reason why, outside of the fact that it's just not my forte, and outside of understanding what money is and what currency is, the difference between the two, how we make it these days, and interest, where that comes from. I know the basics to understand how things are affecting my household. And then if you extrapolate that out into a national or international level, how that can create doom or prosperity for an entire planet. But as far as how these things work, and speculation, and of course timelines to collapse, that always just confused me, because I mean we've been getting the doom report. I mean, I have to imagine. I mean, I think anybody with even a rudimentary understanding of how this stuff works, how a dollar works, the nature of it, is going to say, all right, well, we have any minute now $40 trillion in fiscal operating debt, with hundreds of trillions dollars more that are been pledged to be paid. And it's not, and in less than half of the country is working and being taxed, which makes up the base of all the collateral that you can pledge for the loans you're taking out from the central bank. So it makes no sense. You know that it is a terminal road that we're on. But I mean, if you go back every 10 years, there's always many people, experts, holding the sign, the end is nigh, the end is nigh. But
Right.
the 10 years goes by, and here we're still sitting here talking about how any minute now it's all going to collapse. So I at this point,
I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. A lot of people come up to me, they're like, hey man, is it the end of the world? No, it's not the end of the world. And it's not going to be Mad Max, What we are, the world will go on, America will go on. What we're in the middle of is a paradigm shift. And that has happened all throughout history, like clockwork. Empires come, empires go. The fiat experiment comes, the fiat experiment goes. So we're in one of those cycles. And in that regard, we are transforming. We're transforming from a global superpower into a regional power. And that's what this shift is occurring. I think, I've said this years ago, and I said, expect the United States to rescind into a regional power and become a great nation amongst great nations. And that's what we're seeing. I think this empire is expensive. We can't afford to maintain 900 bases on 139 countries. We can't afford to do that. We can't afford to have a bloated military budget where we're paying stupid amounts of money and we have no accounting for it. We don't know where the hell it's really going at the end of the day. We can't afford to have these boondoggle projects and the level of grift, graft, and corruption that's in DC.
Mm-hmm.
So we're imploding. And so the dollar is done as world reserve currency. We're going to see a devaluation of the dollar that's already occurring as we speak. And that's what we're in the middle of. And it's this transition. When these transitions happen, there's going to be chaos. There's going to be some tumult. Some places are going to fare better than other places in the country and in the world. But also there's going to be massive opportunity. I always tell people, that old Chinese proverb, crisis and opportunity is the same word. And I always tell people this, my tagline, my claim to fame is the largest transfer of wealth in human history is taking place or is about to take place. Do you want to get paid? If people have that mentality, it's not going to be, then if you have that mentality, your thinking is going to shift from where can I build a bunker and where can I get cat food?
Yeah.
It's going to shift from that to how do I make a killing in this? Because if if John D. Rockefeller said, or was it Rockefeller or was it Rothschild? He says, I buy when there's blood in the streets, right? That's the time to go in. There's going to be opportunity during this whole entire thing. We might come out of it as a brave new world. We might come out of it as something, an amalgam of all sorts of different ideologies and hodgepodge put together. But at the end of the day, there's going to be opportunities. Millionaires, the greatest millionaires and billionaires, are still yet to be made.
Yeah, I would love. I can do that. I would love. I would love to do that. I would love to do that. I would just. Damn, I'll tell you. People like us, we got to become millionaires somehow. I mean, maybe you guys already are. I'm not, but I would love that. Only just because I think about the art that could be created with that kind of money, and going out there and competing against all these pencil necks with their dumb projects. I need a little bit of capital to cut through the noise a little bit better. That's all I think about. And okay, we're going into the fog here, and we don't know which way is up. And all right, whatever. And fine, a hot dog at Yankee Stadium is $45. If I'm a millionaire, then whatever.
I always tell guys this: it's like the way things are going in this country for the next several years. You have to make money. You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
If I want to grind it out on my paperboy routes and deliver pizzas and do my gig economy, you're going to be doing a lot of gigs and working 24/7 without any sort of rest. You have to multiply your efforts and utilize the technologies that have sprung up the last several years, where you got these kids, man, these broccoli heads that are out there, they're killing it. They're raking in, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 grand a month.
I know.
Not to be unkind to folks out there, because we've certainly heard it from our audience on either DMs on Discord or email traffic they send us, that they kind of fight the narrative that V just outlined. And, my reply to those folks has been, I know this may bother you at a certain level, words to the effect of, I don't want to live that way. But it's like, but this is how the world's elites operate. We didn't make these rules. They did. So it's like, if you have an opportunity, I mean, first and foremost, protect your family, protect your loved ones, and protect yourself. And then second, how do you profit from this? No different than, what everybody did when World War II ended and came back to the United States and started building businesses and moving to the suburbs and everything else. This is a shift. We're not in control of this shift, but we can benefit from this shift. And also to what V was saying a moment ago about the cost, being former Department of Defense myself, the immense cost for the United States to keep patrolling the world's oceans is just too much. And it kind of goes to what V was outlining, and it's kind of the narrative we're going with is, the United States is focusing more local, and the specifics behind it are going to take us a while to dig through them, but that's why Venezuela happened the way it did. That's why we're hearing what we're hearing about Cuba. That's what Greenland was about, is making sure that the equivalent of, we have these countries or these chunks of real estate that are big giant lighthouses. One of the things I wanted to try and tap with you today, Frank, was I caught your program when you were walking through your many years of your show. And, what would you share with our audience about what you've seen in the alternative space, if you will, or alternative commentators like the three of us?
You mean just recently or just looking back or maybe just taking, if I guess the thing I'm most inspired to say right now is just based on what you guys were talking about, and the thing that you guys get the most pushback from. Now, I remember doing, when we started our shows, I'm watching all these shows. It's funny because I'm going to be, the project that I started for myself over the last 2 months it's gonna keep me going for years. I have 10 years worth of, quite frankly, no. I have 16 years worth of, quite frankly, stuff that I'm actually starting to go through. I'm going to be reissuing all of the old, I deleted so much stuff off of YouTube over the years during the several purges that I took things off that really there's nothing, all my wonderful interviews with people before they were famous and all that other stuff. I'm putting those back on there. I'm looking at all the nights spent at the first studio and then the second studio, the nights spent in our bedroom studios from 2006 to about 2009, where we're just, the rooms are packed full of friends and everybody's talking, and I'm looking at all these, I'm looking at these round tables and this shit, and I say to myself, wow, man, the things that we were doing before there was even an audience that cared. Like, when I'm not talking about nobody knew how to find us, nobody was going to the internet to watch shows.
Right. Right.
And here, and I'm thinking to myself, well, at least we sharpened our knives and got ready for when the wave of interest actually started showing up, and that was 2015, 16, 17. It was when everybody, most people, at least the millennials and into Gen Z, started really bouncing off of mainstream media, and we started establishing ourselves. So um and then I started thinking, there's a reason for all this. I started thinking about where people's interests started shifting, and how in around 2016, 17, 18, there was a whole lot of people who were getting interested in what was going on because President Trump had come in and turned the tables over on themselves and completely flipped what the culture and politics in America was going to be from there on in, and came all
Right.
these hopes of us being able to watch high level arrests and all, and this and that. And then, of course, those of us who had been in the game for a lot longer than 2016, we also had the intestinal fortitude to handle the disappointment when it came to, even though we were hopeful. But when we didn't get all of the military tribunals, we didn't just kind of spurg out and want to cower away and become hermits. And that is where we are right now. There are a lot of people who maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago were still watching A&E and every night, and Bravo before they went to bed, and they all suddenly they drank from the fire hose of conspiracy theory and spiritual warfare and faith and all this other stuff, and they're having all of these things, they're overdosing on all of this shit all at once that we were able to just kind of digest over the course of years, and and do well without really feeling like, oh, I'm taking a black pill on all this stuff, nothing's ever going to change. I said, well, this is, you were sleeping for a long time and it was still this way, and we were all still having a good time. And it's not that ignorance is bliss, but like you said, there's opportunities around. And one thing that I hate is when people are just like, I don't watch movies anymore. I don't watch sports ball anymore. I don't watch it. I was like, okay, you old fucking curmudgeon. Yeah, that's so nice. You don't do anything and you just sit around and you scroll through Telegram all day. The world is really going to change that way. When I say to myself, baseball is a vital part of our American culture. And you may not like it, but it's good to know why it was very important to us historically, and to do things continually every day, like throw the baby out with the bathwater and surrender completely the culture and the future of that culture, instead of, embracing it and trying to wrestle it away and giving some kind of a better understanding to upcoming generations as to what this meant to us in a time when we were much healthier. To what did Hollywood mean when there were patriots that were making great films in Hollywood, telling great original stories? What did baseball mean to the countries as we were going into and out of world wars, despite of how you believe those wars started, or out of the Civil War, and what it actually meant for changing the culture in meaningful ways that didn't have any kind of backhanded, NAACP communist plant kind of a mission there. I hate that. I really hate that I can't share some thoughts about baseball opening day, because you're going to have a whole bunch of people spurging out about sports ball memes, when it just, like, you don't get it. You can't become the desert hermit. And that is where we are right now. I think new media is very, very good at making people feel ashamed at enjoying something, even if it's going to be tainted in some way. Okay, so you have a new layer of discernment that allows you to go into a movie theater that you might be interested in and not be affected by the programming. But at the same time, you just can't stay inside your house all day. You can, if you don't watch any of that stuff and you grow a garden, that's fine too. But don't surrender the culture completely.
Yeah, correct. And and to your point, man, I think there's a great deal of people that are on the alt media side of things where they're just addicted to the salaciousness of this whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're addicted to the negativity. They're, oh my God, it's the end of the world. I think today's the day we're gonna see a bright mushroom cloud outside my window. You know, I can't wait to
Well,
head
it's
to
the
the
fighting.
bunker.
It's the
Huh?
fighting. It's the fighting between personalities that 10 years ago weren't even around,
Right.
and because they've built their entire brand on just being angry about one thing or another or something else, that they just go after each other. And here, what I found is that there's a lot less meaningful curiosity on so-called right-wing new media
Right.
than I thought there would be. And it's more so about really just sniffing each other out. Everybody's trying to snipe each other. You know,
No, it is. Yeah.
I was interested in what Candace Owens had to say, because
Yeah.
when you are somebody that has that big of a platform and you make a statement about what a country like France is doing in the United States, assassination plots and all that stuff, that if it's true, the only response that could ever be warranted at that point is going to war with France. So I was interested to say, okay, are we going to go to war with France, or is this just going to go away? And then you take a little note. Okay, well, don't believe the hype anymore. But some people just made that what their show was about, analyzing what Candace was saying from weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and that's just, how can you get off on that every night? And it's all venomous, and it seems like there's less and less friends out there. Everybody is sniffing each other's asses, and it's weird.
Yeah.
Well, and we've had some programs where we've alluded to, again, not to paint the world with too broad a brush, but yes, I mean, due to the media of a fashion wearing people down. I mean, I feel like that scene from John Wayne's movie, The Green Berets, where he asks a South Vietnamese commander, how penetrated are we by the VC? And he goes, I've got VC in my unit. And it's like, I've got relatives that I meet with regularly, and everyone reminds everyone, don't talk about politics or don't talk about whatever. But not to be unfairly critical, I hear the stuff that comes out of them, and it's like, wow, I can actually see the Cat 6 cable in the back of your head where they're just feeding you out of the matrix what they want you to say. There's no middle ground. There's no room for maneuver. There's no room to discuss. It's just the Borg receiving their orders on what they're to do. And I've been spending the last couple of years out on the West Coast supporting a number of universities with some issues they were having. And I hear the words out of the students there, and it's like, how can you be a graduate student and not hear what you're saying? I don't mean whether I agree or disagree with your position. It's that there's no basis in fact to what you're even saying. You're just an automaton, man. There's nothing there. You're a non-playing character. You're an NBC.
Well, even when it comes to Donald Trump, I polled my audience a week or so ago about, where do you feel right now in the middle of Trump 2.0, especially in relation to this new war in Iran? And it was pretty split. I actually, in thirds, I think half of the audience was either I don't know, like wait and see, but hopeful, to completely supportive and enthusiastic. The other half was wait and see, not hopeful, to completely betrayed and off the boat. And there are some things that I feel very strongly on. And when it comes to Donald Trump, for example, I mean, I see polarization. Every comment section is an absolute bloodbath. But I still want him to do well, and I just think that I if I were president, I would not be signing off on anything in Iran, because I just kind of feel like pulling away from the world and disentangling ourselves would be just as universally transformational as bombing the shit out of another country in the Middle East, where there are regional forces that could probably do just as well if they really were an imminent threat to peace and stability and prosperity for at least that part of the world. That's just me personally. But at the same time, because I don't see the value in this, and that's just what I say. I don't really see the value in this. Not I'm never Trump, not I'm Trump all the way, but because you don't pick a side, somebody's either calling you a shill, or somebody's either calling you the opposite of that, whatever the hell it is. It's like you're right. There's very little middle ground that exists anymore, and that's odd. So when that starts happening, that's when I start talking about UFOs a lot more, and I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
and even that's polarizing now too,
even that's polarizing.
because it used to just be like, is it people from another planet, or
I left that. I'm segueing into more Sasquatch related material these days, and
we have
and Dogman. That's the next thing.
Well, and Frank, you've been covering the because we watch your shows, and I mean that in a non-CIA way. You've been covering Bigfoot, and tonight you're covering the meteors that were recently over that part of the world.
I'll pay reference to it. I've got Jim Lee coming on in the first half, and we're actually going to talk a little bit about. I have some questions about this. The Daily Mail finally paying reference to the CIA actually being involved in geoengineering.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, there was also some people, just people, I think, who have found ways to jailbreak certain AI programs and really take the safety guardrails off. And what that means, jailbreaking AI, just like we use to jailbreak
iPhones.
Yeah. So it's things like that. I think it's still relevant. It's catchy, but you don't have to punch your Republican, Democrat, Libertarian membership card at the door to get in.
Right. Jailbreaking a AI. Am I liberal or am I conservative?
How should I? What would my party tell me to think about this?
How can I say this in a way that makes it sound like I support what you're saying without supporting you because I don't like you?
I know it's absolutely exhausting. Absolutely exhausting.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Frank, how are we doing on time? I know that you had kind of a limited block with us today, which is fine.
I can take it to 10 to 4.
Okay,
yeah.
That's cool.
But I mean, we have to do this again. I know I'm limited.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm limited today, but I love talking with you guys.
Definitely, man. And we'll be happy to jump on your show as well.
Oh yeah, I bet. Well, I know that I had we three.
Yeah, Bella's on. I need to jump on your show. It's been
every time V tried, there was a problem.
Yeah,
there's always a problem.
Yeah, I had you guys on. I had you guys scheduled, and I think V had an issue or something like that, which is all right. We'll put something on the books for the spring.
We worked through it, but now that V's on the East Coast, Frank, you can just drive over and go get him.
I know, yeah, that'd be good. That won't take a bite out of my day going to Jersey or wherever you are.
But yeah, man. Anyway, there's a lot happening. How do you feel about the midterms? A lot of people are calling a blue wave.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You see, it really has all to do with what's going on voting wise as far as voting protocols go, because you see how I never thought that a Republican or anybody who's not a Democrat, because Donald Trump is not a Republican, but
correct.
I never thought I would ever see anybody other than a Democrat win the popular vote again. And obviously that's the case. And why was that? Because there was a substantial ground game, a legal ground game that was there to make sure that all of the excess that we saw in 2020 was just not possible anymore. You could see it. Nobody wanted to do any really deep investigations into where those 9 to 10 million people actually went. You'd think that would be like priority number one for Democrats. Where did our 10 million voters go? And so that wasn't the case. So I look at it from a standpoint of, if the elections were absolutely clean or tightened up, then even if Donald Trump did fall over his own shoelaces, the Republicans should still be able to pick up house seats. I really do believe that Democrats, that liberals are that deficit in actual organic support. I really do believe that. But but if they can't even get the middle of the road SAFE Act passed, then I'm sure that there's a lot more danger for Donald Trump in a shaky first 2 years, especially since his second year is going to be dominated by war now. That he could find himself in hot water and being essentially a legislative lame duck for the second half of the term. I don't want that to happen. And like I said before, if everything were tightened up, I believe that he still carries the House and the Senate despite it all, because I just don't think that there's that much organic support left for Democrats. They have obviously shifted all of their focus to foreign nationals to be able to just attach ballots to beating hearts, whoever the hell they may be. So that's just where I come from. That's where my gut takes me. But he's still technically got time to make a better case.
Agreed wholeheartedly. Frank, man, thank you so much for being on. I know you got to run. I appreciate it, folks. You can find Frank and all his work, his websites, over in the description box. Any last things you want to say, Frank?
I just want to say thank you guys again, and it was great catching up. It's been way too long, but we'll get it. We'll do this again, and we'll have you guys on, quite frankly, as well.
We'll get it together.
All right, brothers. Thank you so much.
Take care.
You well, Frank. Buddy. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Care. Good night.
Yeah. Oh, and call in if the lines are open. Call in.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Cheers, buddy.